Hello, my name is Gia Graham and I'm a full-time illustrator and hand lettering artist. One of the things I love most about my job is seeing my artwork come to life on actual products, like these puzzles I illustrated for Gallison. A few weeks ago, I shared this reel on Instagram of my drawing process for one of the puzzles, and in the comments, there was a request to share a tutorial for the lettering style I used. So that's what I'm going to show you today. By the way, both puzzles are available for purchase online, and the team over at Gallison was kind enough to provide an exclusive discount to my audience. You can use the code GiaGraham20 to receive 20% off your order of my puzzles or any other purchase store-wide. The link and expiration details are in the description below. Now let's start the tutorial. This style is not as complicated as it looks, and it's actually a really great way to elevate very basic block letters. As usual, I will be drawing digitally on my iPad using the Procreate app, and the brushes I'll be using in this tutorial are the 6B pencil brush for sketching, the Monoline brush for inking, and for shading I'll be using the noise brush and the gouache shader brush. I'll add this info and relevant links below in the description. I've already sketched out my phrase, and as you can see, there's nothing fancy about the letter forms. They're very simple. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that the letters will need to be bold with nice wide strokes, and you'll also want to make sure that they're fairly well spaced out. If the strokes of the letters are too skinny, or if the letters are too tightly spaced, then this style we're going to create won't be as effective. So I'm going to start inking my sketch. And I personally like to ink in black first, so I get a clear sense of the form of the letters, and it's just easier to see if my lines are clean. Now that everything is inked, I can add color. To change the color of everything on a layer at once, select the color of your choice, turn on Alpha Lock, then tap Fill Layer. Remember to turn Alpha Lock back off when you're done. Now duplicate your lettering layer, and I'm going to change the name to Drop Shadow just to keep everything nice and organized. Then change the color of the bottom layer to whatever color you want your drop shadow to be. Again, I'm using Alpha Lock to change the color of all the objects on that layer at once. Now tap the Transform tool, then drag the drop shadow layer to the left and down. Once you have it positioned where you want it, connect the drop shadow to the main lettering by drawing a diagonal line from the corner of the drop shadow to the corner of the main lettering. Then fill it in. For the curved areas, just extend the curve on the drop shadow until it meets the main lettering. Yes, I know this part can be a little tedious, but here's what you can do to speed up the process a bit. First, reduce the opacity slightly on your main lettering layer, and this will help you see what you're doing on the layer below. Then go back to your drop shadow layer. Start with a diagonal line like you did before, but this time add another line to create an enclosed shape. Then you can drag the color swatch to that shape to fill it with color. Again, draw the diagonal line, make it an enclosed shape, then fill. The same goes for the curved letters as well. So now you have two layers, the main lettering layer and the drop shadow layer. The next step is to draw the outlines. Create a new layer above your main lettering layer. I'm going to rename it Outlines. Then make that new layer a clipping mask. I'm using the Monoline Brush in white for this, and I'm just going to trace the outer edge of each letter. Since this layer is a clipping mask, you don't have to worry about going outside the letter shape, but you will want to make sure that your lines are as even as possible from the edge. For example, this got way too close to the edge, so I'll need to make this part of the line thicker to match the others. You can always use your eraser tool to clean up any wonky areas. The outline is all done. Now it's time to add the interior shading. Tap on the main lettering layer to select it. Then tap the plus sign to add a new layer above. Since this new layer is below a clipping mask layer, it will automatically become a clipping mask as well. Choose a color that's a little darker than the color you chose for your lettering. I'm going to be placing the interior shadow along the top and left of each letter. That's probably not technically how the shadow would fall if this were a 3D object, but we're taking a little stylistic liberty here. And by the way, I'm using the noise brush for this. So as I mentioned, I'm just going to add lines of shadow along the left side of each letter, and also along the top edge. When there's a letter with a curve, that shadow will also be added to the top edge of the lower section of that curve. Now I'm going to speed this section up a bit, but I'll still show you the process for shading each letter so you can follow along. To add even more dimension, I'm going to add a little shading to the drop shadow as well. Tap on the drop shadow layer to select it, then tap the plus sign to add a new layer above. Make the new layer a clipping mask. Now choose a color that's slightly darker than your drop shadow color. We're going to add the darker color to the underside of the drop shadow, so all these surfaces will be darker. First, just go ahead and fill those areas with color. And for this, I'm using the gouache shader brush, which has a little texture to it, but it's not too overwhelming or distracting. Now switch to the eraser tool and choose the Monoline Brush eraser. For letters with corners, draw an angled line from the corner of the drop shadow to the corner of the foreground lettering, then erase the excess shading. For curved letters, you can use the noise brush eraser to gradually blend away the shadow where the curve turns. Repeat this process for each letter. There you have it. With simple block letters, 5 layers, and a little patience, you can transform your lettering from basic to beautiful. Here's another version I made with some additional illustrated embellishments inspired by the puzzle I designed for Gallison. Don't forget, you can take advantage of the 20% discount Gallison is offering by using the code GIAGRAM20 until September 12th. Be sure to check the description for more details about the offer. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you'd like to learn hand lettering, or if you want to level up your lettering skills, come join me on Skillshare. I have a series of lettering classes which will teach you everything from the fundamentals, then show you how to improve your lettering, how to level up your layouts, and even how to combine hand lettering with illustration. If you're new to Skillshare, the link in the description will unlock 1 month free off your annual subscription. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.